So today I'm behind the wheel of my 2012 BMW E92 M3, and I'm going to showcase my personal M button settings, which are accessible via this cool button right here. And I'm going to showcase them and basically tell you why I choose that setting for each particular category. So let's do it. So go into my M settings. So Drivelogic, it's basically the aggressiveness of the transmission. Now I have it in the highest setting, with the exception of if you turn traction control off, it unlocks the secret 6th setting, but I have it in the highest that you can from starting the vehicle without turning that off. And I have it in that setting because I'm driving a BMW M3. If I don't want it in its most nutty, crazy modes, I would prefer to drive a commuter car, but because I want, aggressive shifts, I want, maybe hear an extra gargle and pop out the exhaust because of the rev matching on upshifts and downshifts, that's why I set it to that. So EDC, this is basically the damper control. I put it in sport, but I have some bumpy back roads when I had my commute, and I leave it in sport, but when I approach the bumpy back roads, I hit the EDC button down here, because I know as soon as I hit it once, I'm going to be back in the comfort mode, and then all I have to do is hit my M button again, and then I'll get back into sport. So DSC, basically your stability control. I have it on the M dynamic mode because pretty much every journalist, driver that I look up to that's ever driven these cars, you don't have to turn off, stability control to still have fun with your M3. Now, I'm not drifting around corners anywhere, but I've never had the car, turn on stability control in the M dynamic mode when I didn't want it to. So that's why I leave it in M dynamic mode. And it'll also, when you hit the M button, it'll be MDM on the dash, and everybody seems to love that. So power, it does not give you more horsepower, as some people are led to believe. What it does is basically makes the gas pedal more responsive. So normal, I leave it in sport because I'm driving a sports car. But normal would just be, I would imagine what it would be like to drive just a regular 3 Series. Sport, the throttle response is a lot more, performance oriented. But the reason I don't put it in Sport Plus is because it's very loose in Sport Plus. So if you were, you know how to drive, so you got your foot down, you're in Sport Plus, you're holding it, and you were to go over some bumps, just the bumps would sound like you don't know how to drive, because you would have your foot at a constant position, and you'd hit some bumps, and just that you'd be cycling the throttle, and I didn't like that. So I leave it in sport. Now Servotronic is basically how the steering feels. So I leave it in normal and not sport, because sport is where the steering changes with speed, and I don't want any setting where the car is pretending that it doesn't know how to do something. Like, I don't need I don't need to put it in sport and have the steering pretend that it doesn't know that it's really great steering, just to make it feel a little sportier. I just want it to steer how it should at every speed. And shift lights, which, since I have the DCT, they show up right above tech and will light up from yellows until I think the last 2 are red. And I put them on because when you are in that high rev range, it is really cool to see the lights. So that is my M settings. If you are an M3 owner of any generation or an M owner of any generation, let me know what your M settings are in the comments below, and I'd love to chat about it. Thanks for watching.